everyone. Today I will go through some HTML, CSS and JavaScript as well as some theory basic as well. So you can consider this video as a last minute revision for unit 2, but I try my best to cover up all the things, okay? But still it's quite difficult to cover up everything like when it comes to JavaScript, but still I try. So I hope that this video will help you somehow in your examination, okay? So the first question is, what is the specific doc type declaration for HTML5? So that means like how we are declaring the HTML5 by using doc type when we are doing the HTML code. So how we declare it? We declare it like this, right? This, then exclamation mark, then doc type with an HTML. So this particular portion represent that this is a HTML5 version HTML mark. HTML is basically not a code, okay? So HTML5 markup language we are using, the version. Then comes to which tag is used as the root element of an HTML document. So when it comes to an HTML document, we need to consider about the root element. So root element is basically HTML, is it? So we use this one as a start tag and end tag. That one is called the root element. Then comes to into which two primary element in the HTML element divided. So how we divide it? So in an HTML element, we have two parts basically, right? One part is for head and we use another part is for body, right? So in the head, we mostly we mostly add some meta tag, title, right? But this part won't be visible basically, but whatever you will write in the body, that one will be visible to the browser. So one of the example, if I start and then you can see there is nothing, right? So in the head part, you can use title, like title, and in the title you can add basic HTML. Basic HTML introduction. Okay, so if I write this one, you guys can see the tab is showing. So this is the only portion, the title portion, whatever you will add, you can able to see it visible on the tab. But other than that, you won't see anything. Okay, but if you add anything on the body, like if I add h1 tag, which is last minute IT revision. So if I save it, you guys can able to see it's visible, is it? So into which two primary element in the HTML element divided? So we divided basically head and the body. Then comes to in which tag should you declare the language of the web page text. So what does it mean by language of the web page text? Is basically you can declare the language of your website. Okay, so here mostly we can use LAN English. So this one is represent that you are using English language for the website. You can also use British language as well. So when the screen reader will go through your website, they will follow the British accent, okay? So this one is basically the British language post. So if you add GB, so then the screen reader will start to read your website in British accent. So this way we represent the languages here. Then comes to what attribute provide a description of an image if it fails to load. Okay, so I think you guys remember how the image tag looked like, right? We can add the image tag inside the body, obviously. Here, the image tag, and image is the one that one is considered as a self-closing tag, right? This one don't have a end tag. Like suppose if you look here, H1 have a start and end tag, but when it comes to image, this one don't have any end tag. That one is called a self-closing tag, okay? Here, so how I can able to call it, you can just add dot slash, then you will get the suggestion. Okay, so I will add a car.png, and in this question they're trying to say that how you will add a description of the images. So in this attribute, right, this one is called attribute. So whatever we will add in the first tag or the start tag, inside the start tag, that one is called attribute. Okay, so here I can add a black car. So how it will help, like suppose if there is some any internet issues and like image take more data, right, more bandwidth. Suppose you have lower bandwidth, then it won't able to fetch the image or load the image, but still you can see the name of the images. Beside that, the screen reader can also read what this image is about. So the people who have some issue with the eyes, or even if they're blind, they can able to still understand what this particular image is. Okay, and our website will look like this. You guys can also add the width and height from here. So we can add width, maybe I think like this, 200 pixels, okay, as an attribute. So it will look like this. What is the technical term for information about data found in the head? So information about data which found in the head, which is called metadata. Okay, so we found metadata where we mostly provide the information. So one is meta. We add the information which is suppose you can add a name, and then you can add some keyword here like car, web page, like that. And then you can also add a content, like content where you will describe what this particular website is. So car selling website. So it basically helps the search engine or the browser to, basically it helps the search engine to get your pages a little bit higher in ranking. Okay, so they can able to identify which page it is. So when someone search, the algorithm can able to identify what this website is about. That's it. So what is a technical term often found in the head? That one is metadata, right? Information. Which tag is used to define the title shown in the browser tab? So which tag is used in the title shows in the browser tab? So basically this one, I already added this one. This is the title tab. Then comes to this one, which tag is used to define the title shown. Okay, this one is done basically. So we are now here. Which meta tag attribute is used to define the character set, typically UTF-8. So UTF-8 is basically the encoding character, is it? UTF is basically convert the number into binary sequence so that the computer can understand. So how we can able to add that one here? So we basically add at the top again, right? We add meta, then comes to char set, then inside a quotation we use UTF-8, right? So this one is an example of declaring the meta char set inside the meta basically. Why are keywords included in the metadata of our pages? So I think I already described this one as well. So they are mentioned that why the keyword, see the first the keyword. Okay, so this is basically one of the examples of keyword. Why the keyword included in the metadata for web pages? So it will help search engine understand the page content. Okay, whatever the page content is, it will help them to understand. Then comes to what does the HTTP _𝐂𝐎𝐓 refresh attribute do? So this one is basically refresh the website in every second. Like suppose if I add an example, if I add meta HTTP, then if I add refresh, I think you already get one of the question paper with this example, which is content. Maybe if I add 30 seconds. So it will reload the page in every 30 seconds. And instead of this, we can add this. So after 5 seconds, it will reload to maybe google.com. So if I now go here and wait for 5 seconds, maybe it will refresh. Yes, it automatically refresh and take it to this pages. So this way, this things is working basically. If you don't add this, it will refresh, but we won't see any changes basically. It will refresh each and every 5 seconds. So I just remove this, okay? Otherwise, it will create a problem. Then we will move to the next question, which is what metadata setting ensure a page matches the width of a mobile device's screen? The page matches the width of a mobile device screen. There comes with the viewport. Okay, so here in the meta, we use the viewport as well. So meta, then we can use name equals to, we will use a viewport. Then comes to content. Here we add, where we mention the device width and the initial scale. So width equals to, it should be device width, then comes to initial scale equals to 1.0. Okay, so after added this one, you guys will not see any issues in. So if I look into this and make it to mobile view, so you won't see any issues it, but instead of 1, if I change it to 2, you will get the difference. So in desktop view, you won't see any difference, but when I will change it to mobile view, you can see it's tuned now, is it? And also I'm getting a horizontal, even a vertical scroll, both. So that's the problem is basically. So the default one, we will always use 1. So this is the, now when I added 1 and I go to the inspect, there is no zooming effect, is it? So when it comes to this question, number 11, we use initial scale 1 for the mobile screen. Okay. Is HTML generally considered case sensitive or case insensitive? It is considered as a case insensitive. Okay. The example about the case insensitive, if we look into this one, so last minute IT revision. So instead of this one, if I added H, capital letter H and save, you can see there is no effect. So we can say that when it comes to HTML, where it was, okay, this was the case. When it comes to this, right, HTML, it is case insensitive. Okay? It is case insensitive, but remember JavaScript is case sensitive. What are self-closing tag? A self-closing tag is a tag that do not require a closing tag. One of the example is image. Then we can also use BR. So I think you all remember BR uses for bracket, is it? Sorry, break the line. So you just BR. So here a new space is added basically. Then comes to which global attribute identify a unique element for script. Unique element for script. So how we can able to identify an element unique basically. So globally. So remember, there's a one H1, is it? Then if I add another H1 and maybe I add my name. Okay. So both are H1, is it? So how you will make it unique? How you will make it unique so that we can able to target for CSS, because suppose this one is a internal CSS. Okay, so internal CSS, we use style inside the head and we can target H1 because we use the tag name basically, and I wanted to add color, which is red. So when I add color red, you guys can see both is getting red. But the requirement is I can only make the first header as a red color. So for that one, I need to make it unique, is it? So here I can add ID. ID, then I can add first header. Remember, when you add the ID, provide a meaningful name, okay? Provide a meaningful name, so which is first header. First header, here we will add the hash. How we will represent, how we can able to target the ID by using hash. So when I add this, you can see the first one is only getting the color, not the second one. So this way I make it unique, okay? Then move to the next question. What does the tab index attribute control? So tab index is basically help you to order the element, okay? Help you to order the element. So we can see an example for that one as well. Mm, okay, so here maybe I can add an H2. Then I can add tab index example. And here I will add maybe two input. So one input is text and second input is basically again text, but here I will add an attribute which is tab index 2. See, this one I added 2, okay? And this one I will add 1. So when I will save and go here, you can able to see there's a 2 tab index. This is basically 1 and 2. If I wanted to make it at the below, then what can I do? I just need to add the beer tag, and if I add the beer tag somewhere here and save, it's now when I click on tab, you will see this one will again this one will be highlighted first. See? Then this one will came up. Right? So you can able to organize, like you don't have to click, you don't have to use the mouse, you can control the input box by using your tab. So if I added this one as 1 and this one as 2, this one as 2 and I save it, so you can see when I click on the tab, the first is selected, then the second is selected. So this way you guys can organize the tab index. So I think it's clear, right, how the tab index is working. Then we will move to how does a block element differ from an inline element in a layout? So I think this is the most common question. So block element take the whole width of the browser, but when it comes to inline element, it start it only take the space which is needed, is it? So how it looks like, we can see an example about a block and inline element. So I will add another H2. Here I will add block and inline element example. Okay. So here I will add now block and inline element example. So suppose how I will understand that this particular element or particular tag is a block or not. So maybe I can use H3. So I think you guys know that when it comes to H tag, right, the header tag, it comes from H1 to H6, is it? So I take H3, then I will say that, okay, hello world, and I will take span as well, and here I will add hello earth. Then what I will do, I will give some color to this. So I have only one H3 tag, right? So I can directly take the H3 tag from here and I will add a background color. So when I will add a background color, maybe I can add a background color which is violet for H3. And for span, I can add a background color, maybe different color, which is Instead of violet, I can add red, and I will save. Okay. So now you will see the difference. See, the hello world take the whole width of the browser which is available, is it? But span is only take the space which is needed. So that's why there is another marking point which is block element starts on a new line. Start on a new line. Like what does it mean by this? After the hello world, if you add another span as well, it will start from a new line. Start from a new line. But for span, they both will stay at the same line. Why? Because it only take the available space is needed. So this is the difference between block and span. So you can use some color in the CSS and then you can able to check which element is block and which element is inline. Then we will move to the next question, which is which tag is used to create a generic division or container for related content. Okay. So how we will divide? So generic, okay, generic is basically how we divided the section. We use div, is it? So suppose we use div for one section, then we use div for another section. So this way basically we divide it, okay? What is semantic difference between B tag and a strong tag? So B only makes text bold visually, while strong indicate important content, and also strong is considered as a semantic tag, so it will also help the browser to understand. Okay, so indicate important content, and this one is only make the text bold, but this one both are doing the same thing. Like suppose when it comes to maybe we can create another page. So here I will add bold example. So here I will add high all. Okay. So here I will add strong. So I added high all inside a strong tag. And then I will do the same thing with B tag. So here I will add hello all. And then when I will save, you can see that both is making it bold. Both is making it. Okay. But this one is semantic. This is not so. That's the difference basically. Then comes to the next one, which is which content model do image, audio, and video belong to? This one is called embedded content. Okay, which content model do image, audio, and video belongs to? So that one is called embedded content. So one of the example we can see with audio examples, like I will add a division by using a div that we already discussed. Is it like this? See, div, this is the audio, right? I added a control, so we can, when you add a control attribute, you can able to control the audio and the source is all. The browser doesn't have to produce like that. So if I run here, you can see that this is the example of an audio example. But suppose if I remove this control and I save, so you won't see anything. So that's why control consider as an important role. Then we will move to the video part. So video is also similar. You can also add a width inside the video, audio as well. So I will take another content. So here you can see that this is the video example. Width of the video, I can add control, and the source. Here you can add a video source. Okay, connect. The type of the video here you have to mention. Maybe if the type is, suppose if the audio type is MP3, you have to mention MP3. This one is MP4, is it? Then if I run, you guys can see, right? There's a video structure came up. So I added a control, then that's why it came up. If you added an auto here, So what does it mean by this? It will automatically start the video. Okay, you don't have to click on it. So this is the difference between audio and the video. This one is considered as an embedded content. Then we can move to the next question. Which semantic tag is best for a self-contained blog post or news story? So self-contained blog post or news story, we mostly use when it comes to with semantic tag, right? Self-contained blog post or news story, we mostly use as article for that. When it comes to blog post, we mostly use articles. So one of the example we can see, which is this is a div. So now we will move to the article. So I think you guys know how we can able to do a comment, is it? So here I will change it to article. So as you can see, this is the article. I added a header element, and then you can able to see this is the article. Okay, is used for self-contained content such as blog posts or news stories. We mostly use the tag, which is article. What is the purpose of the aside element? Okay, so when it comes to aside element, this is considered as a secondary content which plays inside an element basically. So we can see an example for the users aside. So this is one of the example of an aside. Okay, so where we use aside, like suppose you wanted to show one of the advertisement or maybe some tips or some related links. Okay, you try to make it a little bit different from your content, so then you can use with aside tag. How many H1 headings should ideally be on a single page? So when it comes to a single page, obviously the one H1 tag is necessary, but I think you guys know that the H1 tag we can extend from H1 to H6. H1 is the most larger one, then H2, the smaller, okay, from ascending. So, sorry, descending. H1 is the larger, then comes to H2. This is smaller than H1. H3 is smaller than H2. Like this way, it goes until H6. What is the default bullet type for an unordered list? So what is the default bullet type for unordered list? When it comes to unordered list, that means we don't have any, how the unordered list actually looks like. So if I remove all this, I think you guys already understand how all those things work. So if I remove all, and I added an unordered list, right? Inside the unordered list, I can add a number of lists as well. So maybe I can add list HTML. I can add list which is CSS, and I can also add list which is JS. Okay, and when I will save, then you guys can see this is the list. So they don't have any order, is it? This is a list. So we can what the mention in the question is, what is the bullet type, right? The default bullet type is disk, but we can also change just the bullet type when it comes to unordered list. So just 1 minute. So for that things, we can use, like, you can able to get the design of default one is disk, but this one is called disk basically. This is called disk, okay? But you can able to change it. So suppose I add a style, this. So this one is considered as an inline style. When we add a style inside a first HTML tag, okay, as an attribute, that one is called inline CSS. This one is called internal CSS, remember. So here we can add a list See, list style type title is disk. So how the disk will look like, this is the default one, but you can also change it to something else. So I think we will get some suggestion. There's a circle as well. Yeah, circle. We can also use circle. So circle. Yeah, now there is a circle. So this way you can able to change. So the default one is basically disk. Which attribute allow you to start an unordered list with a specific number? Ordered list. So this is one of the example of an unordered list. When it comes to ordered list, so basically we basically design ordered list like this. So you have to, how you can able to comment, write this one, then highlight the whole sentence, command or control backslash. Okay. So unordered list is again comes with OL and then you can add LI inside. So basically I will take all this three and then paste it here, but this one should be OL. So now here you can change C, right? But the question is allow you to start an ordered list. So you can use an start tag basically. So suppose if I add a start equals to maybe a 3 and I save, so it will start it from the 3 tag. Okay, so this is basically one of the example of the start tag. In a definition list, which tag identifies the term and which identifies the description? So what does it mean by definition list? Okay, so definition list looks like this. This is an example of a definition list. You start with DL, definition list. DT is the definition text. DD is the definition. Data is it. Term, definition term, and definition description. Sorry, description, definition term. So how it will look like? You can able to see it like this. See, definition term and definition description. So definition term is considered as a DT. So if you look here between this two, this is the DT. First comes with DL, then inside the DL, this one is called DT, and the description of the DT, which is definition description, that one is DD. Okay, this is the example of a definition list. Okay, so I think we are done with the fundamental of HTML. Then we'll move to a little bit advanced of the HTML. Two is basically we'll talk about link, media, and the tables. So which attribute define the destination URL in an anchor tag, right? So in anchor tag, which attribute we are using, that one define the destination URL. So now this is the basic one. I will create another advanced HTML. So when you will create a HTML file, you have to use .html. So HTML is basically the extension of HTML file. Then you can use exclamation mark and tab, which will automatically set the default code for you. Okay. So we will see how the anchor tag looks like. So this is the anchor tag. We mostly uses the anchor tag for link. Like if you wanted to visit from one page to another page, we mostly uses anchor tag. So here I can add one of the example which visit Google, and then here I will add the URL. So remember when you will add the URL, sometimes in exam they will also ask to add the write the code, right? Try to write HTTPS. Then after you write that, if I go here, okay, I need to run this page as well. So visit Google. So when I click here, it will take me to the Google pages. Okay. So this is the purpose of attribute ref tag. What is the default color of our visited link? So this link I just visited. So what is the color? It's become purple, right? If I do the same thing and I add visited Google search engine and I save. Okay, is both is purple? Mm. So default color of a visited link is purple. You see, I change it. Okay, so instead of this one, I will change it to apple. APPLE, apple, because this the previous link I visited, which is google.com, that's why it shows purple. But when I add the apple link, and now you can able to see it's blue color, right? So when I click and visit to apple and go back, it becomes purple. So if you didn't visit any of the link, it shows blue color. After visited, it becomes purple. How do you format a link to open the user's email client? So how we can format a link so that it will open a email, right? Client email. So remember, we can also use ref to, we can also use ref for email as well. So suppose I can add contact us, and here I can add, when it comes to mail, remember that you must have to use mail to, okay? Mail to. So when you add mail to, it will open the client email address. So I added my email, and then when I will save, go here and then click on the contact us, you can identify that my mail is open. Is it? So remember, each time when you do the question 4 in unit 2, right? Remember, for the footer, in the footer they will give you some mail link and also use this format for that. Then comes to next page, which is what does the target blank do? So we basically add the target blank to in the anchor tag here. Why? Target, then edit target. So if you add the target blank, then you can see the difference. So if I click, so a new tab is open, right? So that your browser will remain open and it won't replace by another browser. So suppose if you think about the Apple, when I click, it open in the same tab, right? So it will be a little bit harder to go back each time. So when you add a target blank, a new tab will open for you. What symbol is used in a ref to link a specific ID on the same page? So I think you guys remember in November 2025, we did this one, is it? In the same page, if you wanted to link the section, what you can do. So suppose I have a section, one div, then I have another div, okay? So this one is the first section, so maybe I can use all those things. Then I can add ID with maybe top. Okay. Then you can also call that particular ID. So here I can add maybe some other information so that I can make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay. Then if I run this one, you can see my web page is a little bit bigger now, not bigger. Okay. So maybe I can add BR tag. So put some break between it. Now it will be bigger. Still not big. So if I inspect, okay, no, it's okay. Now I can able to show you the example. So here I will use anchor tag, and then here I will add back to top. And what is the top? So this is the top, right? So you will take hash top. So if you add hash with a top and you save it, if you go down, click here, it will take you to the top. See? Again. So basically we are at the top, right? So this way it's working right now. Suppose why you can see that why, because this is here. So if I change this ID from here to maybe here and I save, now you're able to see that when I click here, it takes me to the top. Okay? So this way it take you to the top when it comes to the symbol that we mostly uses when it comes to same idea on the same page. So which graphics format is most suitable for logos and diagram? Remember that one is 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓. The full form is scalable vector graphics. What happens if you resize an image in HTML to be much bigger, to be much larger than its original size? It's become pixelated and loses quality. That's it. How can you set an image to scale in proportion automatically? So automatically means you will add a image with automatic. Okay, so we can see the difference here as well. So I will remove all these things. Then I will add an image here. And the same image I will target, okay? So for this image, right, this image is a little bit bigger now, and not a little bit, so much bigger. So you wanted to add the proportion automatically. So where you can use either width or height to auto, okay? Width or height to auto. Suppose I can add width, I can add with 100% and height auto. So with 100%, so it will take the same proportion of the images, right? But suppose instead of height auto, if I add 100 pixel, you will get the difference like this, okay? If you add height auto, it will take same proportion. Even if you add, maybe this one is 50%, I think it looks good, right? Then we will move to the next question, which is which tag define a row in an HTML table? So in an HTML table, we use TR, right? Table row. So if you look into the table, how we define a table basically. I'm removing all because I think you guys understand everything. When it comes to table, we use a table tag, right? In the table tag, we use TR. TR specifically mention each row. Suppose if I have 3 rows, so I will add 3 TR. Table row, okay? First row, second row, and the third row. So mostly in the first row, we add all the table header. So that one, the tag name is table head. So here I can add name. Then comes to age. Then comes to city, okay? Name, age, and city. Then we will add TD. So TD is basically table data. So if I go here, you can able to see this is the name, right? The header. Now I will add the data. So maybe the name I can add Alice. So I will copy because you have a 3 header, so you must have 3 data. So 20 and the city maybe. So I'll see this, okay? So now you can able to see this is the data, right? You can also add the border here. So if you add border at 1, you can able to see this is the now you can able to get the border. Is it? Okay, so this is one of the example of table. Okay, so this is one example of a table. What is the difference between TD and TH in a cell? So basically, this is called TD, table data, and TH is table header. Which attribute combine multiple column into one? So that one is called call span. Okay, so you'll see an example of call span now. So I will now write an example of a call span. So here again, I will add a table. Sorry, I will add a table. So inside a table, I will add maybe 2 rows. So 1 row, and then comes to the second row. Here I will add the 2 PR, so 2 bracket. First row, in the first row, I will add header. So header will be only one. So I just add student information, okay? And then in the TR, I will add TD, which is, so the same thing, see, the same thing. Name, age, and city. So here I will add. So there's basically, now I can see that there's basically 2 rows. So first row is 1 header. So now if I run it, you guys can see it looks like this. Even if I add a border here as well, so you can able to understand how it basically looks like. It looked like this. But I wanted to make it align with this portion as well, is it? So for that one, this is basically 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns. So I have to add here the first one I have to add in TH. So this one I have to add, which is call span equals to 3. So inside the 3. So when you add this, you can able to see it now working perfectly, right? So this is an example of a call span when you combine multiple tables. What is the purpose of the T head, T body, and T foot tag? So they group table section into header, body, and footer for structure and styling. Okay, you can also add T head, T body, and T tag. So we can see a code regarding that to see how it looks like basically. Okay, so this is one of the example. So I will remove everything, the table purpose, then I will add this. Table border, T header. Inside the T head, I added the TRTS, so it will be more meaningful, is it? In the table T body, I added the TR first row. T foot, I added the footer. Okay. Then when I will save and go here, you get to see header, end of table is basically the footer. Then we will move to 38. Which tag create the overall container of a web form? So web form, right? So when it comes to form, here comes with the form. So table is done, I think. Then we can move to the form section. So remember, for form we uses form tag basically. So when it comes to table, we start with the table, start tag and end tag. For form is also same. Start tag and end tag like this. Okay. Then I think you all know that for the we can use label, right? Label tag. Suppose name represent as a name and where the user will input. That one is basically input. Type is text, is it? So it will look like this name. Here you can able to input. And suppose when it comes to the number, we can again copy and paste. Here you can add number. So input will change it to the number. Okay. So now this is a number, right? So here you can able to select all the number and maybe we can add a BR. So it will start from a new line. Here you can able to see the difference. Then what is the difference between radio button and a checkbox? So when it comes to radio and a checkbox, we can use the same tag, which is input tag, radio and checkbox. So what's the difference between radio and checkbox is mostly we use a radio button for selecting only one. Suppose if you think about gender, so we will use label, maybe, okay, gender. So for gender, it can be either female or male. So we will use input, type will be radio, okay? And then we don't need all these things. Okay, we need the name basically. Okay, here we add female, female. Then I will add a BR again here, BR. Then I will add again input, which is radio male. Okay, so when I add this two, you guys can able to see that there's a. Okay, I also need to add BR to here as well. Maybe add another one. So now you can see gender, female and male, right? But I can choose two at a time. But when it comes to radio button, I can only choose one, is it? So what can I do here, which is I have to give a name. Remember, the name should be same, okay? So I can add the name gender for both. So now it will select that, okay, this particular radio button is either one. See, now I can choose either one. So the name should be same. If you change the name from gender to male, suppose, then you can able to select two of the radio button now. So the name should be similar. This is an example of a radio button. Then we will move to checkbox. So basically for the checkbox, we mostly uses the checkbox for selecting the terms and condition, is it? So we will use the same tag, which is input, and instead of text, you will change it to checkbox, accept terms and condition. So we can add accept terms and condition. And then if you go here, you can able to see the accept terms and condition. Right? So either you can select, unselect. So this is basically one of the example of an radio button. If there's a 5 radio button, you guys can click 5 of the radio button. What is the difference between radio? That one is already done. What does the field set tag do? So field set tag is basically separate the section. So here, if you look here, we added a section for name and number, right? So I wanted to make it a different section. So here I can use field set tag. So in the field set tag, I will add this too. And then when I will save and run my document, see there's a box came up. So this one is a separate, this one is separate. Now to separate the two portion, you can also add a lesson for as a like name. So for that thing, you can add personal info. Okay, then see how it looks like, right? In form processing, why is post generally preferred over get for sensitive data? So this one needed because post sends data in the request body, not which is not visible in the URL. Okay, that's why. And get is the one which fetches the data from the server, right? What is client-side validation? Client-side validation is the validation done in a browser before sending data to the server. So what does it mean by this? This means it's basically like suppose when we add a password, right? The validation is mostly done in the browser. So that's why they ask you that, okay, you must have to write 8 word or combination of word and all, right? So this is done basically in the browser. Which video format is recommended for web pages? Mostly in before you can think. Then comes to what does the poster attribute do in a video tag? Okay, so we will see what this poster attribute will do. So basically, suppose if I take outside the form, okay, instead of thumbnail, because I have only one, so if I add car.png as my poster in the video, and then you can see how it looks like. Thing is happening because I didn't add full stop here. See, so this one, the poster, you can use poster tag as a thumbnail perspective. I think I already explained the video thing, is it? So you can use poster attribute for thumbnail purpose. What is an iframe? So this is important. What is an iframe? iframe is an element used to embed another website inside your website, basically. Okay, so we can embed another website into our website. So how the iframe will look like, we will see a little video regarding iframe. Not video, sorry. We will look. So iframe is also started with a iframe tag. So basically, you are just trying to take another website into your website. That's it. So one of the things that I can give, which is last time I take this website. So because when it comes to W3 schools, they are not allowing us to take the website in us. So if I add it like that, okay, and then I reload my one. So as you can see, okay, this website is now visible. This website is now visible in my website, basically. So that's a part of a website. So you can also add the frame, maybe 50 pixels or something. Yeah. So now it will be a little bit bigger. Or maybe 50. So it's working. So it's a frame border. Sorry, it's a frame border. Yeah, so this is basically the example of an embedded, sorry, iframe. So when you are taking another web pages into your website, so this is basically the web page. I take it into my web page. That's it. So then I think we are done with the part 2 as well. So then we will continue with the part 3, which is CSS. We will start part 3. So when it comes to part 3, what does it mean by CSS? CSS, the full form of CSS is basically cascading style sheet, and we mostly use CSS for designing purpose, right? So one of the example is to color the text or background, or also to position the element. So one of the example is when it comes to CSS, so this is one of the part for HTML basically. Suppose if I add h1 and here if I add hello world, okay, hello world, then how I can able to style it? Either there's a three-way. One is called internal, external, and inline CSS. Okay, so inline CSS looks like this. You need to add style, then color, maybe red. Yeah, similar like that. So now if I run this one, you can see hello world is here, right? This is an example of an inline CSS. Remember, we can also do internal CSS. Internal CSS is basically you have to add the style tag. There's a start tag and end tag inside head, and here you have to target the tag name because we have only one h1, so I will target the add name here, and I will add the color. So color comes to maybe blue. Okay, blue. So here you can see, but this one is still getting red because when it comes to inline and internal, the internal one is inline one is get more priority. Okay, so that's why this one is getting more priority. So if I remove this one, I save it. Now it's become blue. So this is example of internal. Now we will do another one which is called external. So external looks like this. Style, you can add any name, it's up to you. Okay, so style.css, and here we will take h1 from here and we will paste it here. We will remove this one. Okay, and when I will save this one, I will save, and then see this one is still black. So what I will do, I have to connect it. So how I can connect it? I have to connect the CSS in the head. So link and then we will add style.css. So when I add this, now you can able to see it's blue color, right? So what we learn now, internal, inline, and external CSS. Then we will move to the next question. What is the benefit of using an external style CSS? It allow one CSS file to control multiple web pages. Like suppose you can use this one and you can also assign it maybe some other HTML pages as well. Also, it helps to maintain, when it comes to the maintenance, right? You have to maybe change something or modify something. It makes it easier. And beside that, it is reusable. Okay, so you can reuse it to other HTML as well. Then we will move to the next question, which is which tag link an external CSS file to an HTML document, which is link, right? This is the link that we mostly uses to connect external CSS to the HTML. Then comes to the next question, which is what are the three parts of a CSS? Three parts of a CSS rule. Okay, so when it comes to three part of a CSS rule, we can see an example. Here, if I look here, okay, so here H1 is called selector, okay, or P, whatever the tag or class name you will take, that one is called selector. This one is called property, and this one is called value. So when it comes to three parts of a CSS rule is selector, property, and value, which selector target all element of our web on our web pages, all targets. So I think in 2025, I mentioned that when it comes to all element, one of the example is most of the question for we get that we need to add font family, maybe sans serif or something like that. So when it comes to the font family, which is applicable for whole, is it whole web pages, or maybe you have to add padding and margin. So you can use that one is called universal, and it basically an asterisk. So when you add asterisks, this one is applicable for all the element. That one is called universal selector. Okay. How do you indicate a class in a CSS selector? So basically, why we use class? So suppose if I have two div here, one div for maybe hello world, I will remove this one. And I have another div for hello world 2. Okay, so this is the two. But how I will make it unique div? So during that time, I can use either class or ID. Okay, so class, maybe I add div 1, and here I will copy and paste. This one I will make it div 2. So this class is basically make each of my div unique. Right now I can target this one. So how I can target this one? By using the div 2. So here when we will target class name, we use full stop div 2 like this. Okay, and then I will add color red. So you can see that this one is getting color, not the first one. Okay, so this way we can do the unique things. We can do same thing when it comes to ID as well. So suppose instead of class, if I add ID, here I can also use ID. Okay, ID is also doing the same thing. But how we can able to target an ID? When it comes to ID, we have to use hash. That's it. Okay, hash. So now in the selector div greater than p, what is the relationship between and the div and p? Div and p. Okay, so this one is called direct child relation. Okay, so p is a direct child of the div. P is a direct child of the div. Okay, so we can see an example. Suppose this is a div. Okay, inside the div, I wanted to add a p tag. So this one is another p, and outside I also wanted to add another p, and here I wanted to add hello world basically. So now if I load, you can able to see this is one and this is one, right? So now if I use this particular direct child format, we will see how it will look like. So we can do one thing, maybe I can remove all. Then I can add div greater than p, and maybe I can add color red. So how it affected? Can you see the difference? It's affected only the p which is inside the div. Outside the div, p is not affected. This is not affected. Only the p which is inside the div is affected. So basically, when it comes to HTML, we mostly mention it like this way, that this is called parent. Okay, this is a parent div. This is a parent div, and inside the parent, this is a child div. Okay, so that's the thing they're trying to say, which is p is the direct child of the div. I hope you understand this part. Then we can move to the second one, which is what's the difference between a descendant combinator and a child combinator. Okay, so a descendant combinator is basically that select all the nested element, while a child selector only direct children. So this one is one of the example of a child selector. Just give me a few minutes. So I think we already saw the example of a child selector. So we will now look onto the descendant selector. So descendant selector is selected all nested element, less nested. Okay. So this is an example of a child. So when it comes to the descendant, we will not use any type of greater than and all, just div and p. So when you add div and p, then you can able to see how it looks like. Basically, when it comes to descendant and child, we need a little bit different example. So if you look here, I have one div. Inside div, I added two p tag, but this p tag is directly after the div. But this one, I added another section, and inside the section, I added this particular p tag. So now one I uses, this is a child, direct child selector, and the other I will add for descendant selector. And then we can see how it works. Okay, so first I will comment out this. When it comes to the direct child, what I can see, which is only the child is get color, right? Only the direct child. But when I add a section, this P is not getting the color. But if I add this P out of the section, which is inside the div, basically, if I remove the section and save, you can see both are getting the color. But if I separate it with a different section, and I add this p tag inside this will not get the color. So only the direct child will get the color, right? So if you have another section inside the div, that one will not be workable. So this is, if you look here, only this is the one who is getting color. Now we will focus on the descendant one. So I will comment this one and run this first. When I will run and play, see, now both are getting the color. So I think you guys understand, right? When it comes to descendant, this and this, whoever will come inside the div, they will get the color if they have a different section as well. Okay, then we will move to the next one, which is what symbol is used for an adjacent sibling combinator. So when it comes to adjacent sibling combinator, their use is mostly plus. Okay, they uses plus. So we will see an example of this one as well. Okay, so maybe here I can add h1 tag with important header. So here, what I will do, I will comment this one as well, and then I will add h1 plus p tag, okay, and then I will see how it works. So when I will save, and you can able to see this way it works. Okay. So this is style the first p element immediately after an H1. So H1 is not getted the color, only this one is getting the color after. Okay, so this one is called adjacent sibling selector. In the style cascade, if two selectors have equal specificity, which rule is applied? Okay, the last. Okay, so this one, why basically the specificity is if the style cascade of two selector have equal specificity, which rule is applied? So they are trying to say that suppose you have a p tag. Okay, so there is only one p tag. So if you look here, if I remove this one, I can see that there is only p tag. So what I will do, I will remove this one as well. I will add a p tag with red, color, red, and then I will also add another p tag with color red. So you guys will see, no, sorry, color red. It should be blue. Color blue. Then you will see which one is gets the priority now. The last one, right? So that's the things I was trying to say, which is the last declare rule will get the priority. So not this one, this one. Okay, remember this one. So that's why it gets the blue color. Are properties like border and padding inherited by child element? No, they are not inherited. Maybe the font size and color can be inherited, but this one is not possible when it comes to border and padding. What are the four parts of the CSS box model? The CSS box model comes with four parts, which is content, padding, border, and margin. So what does it mean by content? I will remove everything. So whatever we will add inside this particular div, this is called content. This one is called content, and padding, margins, and border we will give. Suppose for that one, div 1, right? So I will take this particular div, I will remove all things I don't need, div 1, and then I will add width, maybe 200 pixel. Then I will add border, okay, background color. So you guys are able to see how it looks like basically. So then you can understand. Wow. Okay, so it looks like I added the, okay, sorry, see, this is the ID, is it? So how I can able to target ID by using hash. So when I will save, it looks like this, is it? Now we will see what is the difference between padding and margin. So if I add PADDING padding 20 pixel, see, both way they get the space, right? From inside the box. If you add only padding top, there is a padding top, padding bottom, padding left, and padding right, then it will only get the top. So this is one of the examples of padding. When it comes to margin, if I add margin 20 pixel and I save, see, this way, this way, this way, this way. So outside of the box, they are getting the space. And you can also add margin top, bottom, left, and right. Then comes to border. So when it comes to border, remember, if you wanted to add any of the color, 2 pixel, because one compared to one, the pixel you will, the more pixel you will add, the more the border will be wider. So 2 pixel you must have to add solid, otherwise you won't get the color. Then you can add color, maybe red. So it's a red color. So if I increases the padding to 5 pixel like this, you can also changes the solid to dotted as well. It becomes dotted. Okay, so this is one of the example of a border. Border came up with 5 pixel, dotted, and red. So this one we can also break it with a 3-point as well. So you can add it like this, which is border width 5 pixel. Then you can add border color, sorry, not border radius, I want to add border color, border width, border color, and then I think that one is border style. Yes, border style should be solid. Yeah, see, after solid it came on. So we just combined this two and came up with this. Okay. Then comes to the next question, which is what are the four parts of box model is done if a box has a width of 100 pixels and 10 pixels padding on each side? What is its total horizontal width? So what is the total horizontal width if its width is 100 and 10 padding on each side? So it should be the horizontal width is this way. So this side is 10, this side is 10. So in total it will be 120 pixel. What is the default positioning settling for HTML element? Okay, so we can default positioning is basically when it comes to positioning, there comes with the absolute, relative, fixed. So the default one is basically static. Okay. Okay, then we can see one of the example of fixed. So this is default. How does fixed positioning behave when a user scroll? Then comes to absolute positioning. Okay, so we can work on the string and we will see how it works. So when it comes to static is basically default position. Element stays in normal page flow. Okay, so the page flow is normal. Relative is when it comes to relative, it's also stay in normal position. Absolute, nearest position, ancestor. Okay, so relative is considered as the ancestor of absolute one. Okay, then comes to fixed. Fixed is they will fixed in this position. Like if you scroll some of the web pages, you can see the menu is fixed at the top. So that is an example of a fixed one. So we can see how to do this. Okay. So first of all, I will remove this and then I will add, I think I will do the style here so you guys can able to understand more clearly. I will add a div. Static position and we'll add the class. So for the class, always try to start with a small caselet, okay? Static. Then I will add color and all. So I think I can do it here. So I will target dot static position is static. Then I will add border 2 pixel solid black. Yeah. So when I add border 2 pixel solid black, you can able to see this is one of the example of static position. So it's stay in the default position. That's it. Then we will see one of the example about if you add like left and right. I don't think so it will be workable when it comes to static. If I add maybe left 30 pixel and I say it's not workable, right? It's just a default, the way we add the element in it by using HTML, the way it works. Static is the default one. Then we will look into one of the example of relative. So for relative, we can copy the same pattern. We will paste it here and the static will change it to relative, okay, relative, and here we will add class relative. Then comes to relative position. We can add the relative, okay, so dot relative, we will add position relative. Then comes to left. Okay, left we will do a little bit later. I want to add border 2 pixel solid blue. Border 2 pixel solid blue. So as you can see, there's a border which is a blue color. Now, if I add left 30 pixel, you can able to see the left is working, right? So you can use, so when you add the position relative to any of the element, you can able to add top, bottom, left, and right. Both will be workable during that time. Okay, so relative is done. Now we will look into absolute. So we will add two type of absolute. Oh no, absolute need a container that I mentioned. So I will add a div. Inside div, I will add another div. So this div is basically work as a child. Then I will add absolute. I will add absolute position. I will add absolute position, and for this one, I will add a class. The class will be absolute. This one I will also add class absolute container. Okay, so this is one, this is another. So this one is basically the parents, and this is the child. Then what I will do, this is the absolute position. So I will style it. I will go to absolute. Then I will add position absolute. Then I will add border 2 pixel solid red. Okay, so this is one of the example of a, so this is the one I'm targeting, right? See, when it comes to relative, it takes the whole thing, but when I add it to absolute, this one, I didn't add any width or anything, is it? It only take this portion. If I do the same thing with absolute container, then I can see how much it takes basically. Absolute container. When it comes to absolute container, if I add the same thing here as well, and maybe instead of red, if I added green, I want to see how it works. Is it the same name? Give it try to remove this one. Okay, it also, because when it comes to absolute, right, it only take the required space, is it? But relative take the whole space. Okay, this is done. Then we can add some, we can add some top. Suppose if I add 20 pixels, see, top 20 pixel. Then if I add right 20 pixel, right 20 pixel, right? So this weight, so when it comes to top, I think you can identify one thing, which is when it comes to top, if I remove the top or if I make the top to 0, you can see the top is basically here. Is it? Okay, for the red element, the top is showing here. So when I add 20, it goes down. When I remove the top, basically, it after all the element. Okay. So this one is basically targeted to the nearest ancestor. Basically, when it comes to absolute, right? Absolute, the parents is basically this one. Okay, so here I need to add the absolute. So I did a mistake here. I will add absolute, and I must need to give a position which is relative. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the difference. Then I will add a height, which is 150 pixel. Then I will add a border, 2 pixels solid blue. Yeah, so now it's working. Yes. So this is basically the parents, okay, for this one. So now if I remove this top 20, see, if I add the top 20, so this is the parent. So now top 20 is working from here. If you remember before, when I didn't add this container relative, the top is started from here, is it? Now the top is started from here because this is the parents. If I do the same thing for right, it also starts from here. Okay, so the parents is the main one, but when it comes to the relative and the static, the web browser width is the main one. So for static, this is the top. For relative, this is the top. But for absolute, the parents relative is the main top, right? So the top start from here basically. I hope you understand. Then we can do the last one, which is fixed. So when it comes to fixed, we will add div fixed position, and then here I will add class fixed. Okay, class fixed. So this is a fixed position. So when it comes to fix, I think I can add some more data to it so it will be more visible then. Okay, so now I will work with fixed. If I exceed fixed, so when it comes to fixed, the position should be fixed, then save. This one is taking so many. Is it because of this? Okay, yeah. Okay, maybe we can add this right now. Position is fixed. Then I will add background color. Let's see. Okay. Background color will be red. Then I will add color will be white. Color is basically represent the text color. Remember, okay? Then I will add a border. So border I will add 2 pixel solid. Maybe I can add yellow. Okay. Then I will add bottom because for fixed bottom is also workable when it comes to fixing. Let's come here. Then I will add right 10 pixel. It's working. So now you will see the difference. If I go to inspect, so fixed is always fixed in this position. See, whatever I do, like if I scroll and go down, or whatever I will do, see, it is always fixed in the position. Let's fix it. So this is one example of a fixed then. I think we're done with this. Then we will move to the next question, which is which property adjusts the overlap order of element? Okay, so overlap order of an element is mostly fixed by the Z index. So we will see one of the example of a Z index now. Mm, okay, so I will again remove all this and we will do another task. So now I will also remove all as well. So here I will add one div and maybe hello world, and then I will add another div hello earth. So for hello world, for this one I will give the name which is class class is class maybe box 1, and this one I will also give class box 2. Okay, so there's a box 1 and box 2 now. So I will go inside the style, and what I will do, I will target the box 1 because this is a class, so that's why I added full stop. So in box 1 I will add the position which is absolute, and maybe I can add some color as well, which is background color, maybe red, and it is width maybe 30 pixel, similar like that. So now if I run this one, you can see this is the box, this is it. So if I changes the width to 100 pixel, you can see it like this. Now I will do the same thing, copy and paste with box 2, and the red I will change it to blue. So you can see this is the blue, right? The red already, the blue one, the blue box is already overlapping the red boxes, but how can you take it at the top? So here comes with the part which is called Z index. So if you add Z index, the more number you give, that one will be the more forward. Okay, so if I add this one is 2, see now red is now it's showing red because this one I didn't add any Z index. Now if I take the same Z index and I put it here, now you can able to see this is not visible. Okay, and you can also see one of the examples is, suppose if I change it to again 3, this is visible. So this way we solve the overlapping issue. Okay, what does display grid do? So I think in question 4, I mentioned a number of times that mostly we use grid to create row and column. So that's the task of grid basically. So for grid, remember when it comes to grid and also in question 4, we mostly get two para, right? This and this, this and this. So you can able to create number of row by using grid. So for grid, one of the easiest solution is, so here you can see that there's a 2 div, right? So I wanted to make 2 column with this. So what can I do? I will add another div, and inside the div, I will add this. To remember, the grid is only applicable for block element. Then here I will add class wrapper. So I need a wrapper basically. A wrapper is a div which wraps the other 2 div. So when it comes to the wrapper, um, here I will add the grade. So bits 1, box 2, okay. Then I will add WRAPPER. So I will add wrapper, then I will add display. just repeat. So now if you look here, now it looks like they both are overlapping each other, is it? So if I add grid, then I can see, is it workable? Or I think so, it's workable. Okay, so for the wrapper, this is the wrapper. Okay, I added wrapper. Then we can use template. So grid template column. So for the grid template column, how many div I have? I have two. So I wanted to create two column. So for that, you can add auto. Auto will take automatic space. So it will look like this. Why it is not working? Okay. Because I have the position and absolute, maybe that's why. So I will remove this, okay, the absolute one. So now it will work with that. Okay, so if I remove the wrapper as well, you guys can see it was before, it was like this, is it? So when I wrap this one, now it looks like this. And for the 100 pieces is basically this width. So I will remove this width as well. So now you can see. If you wanted to add some gap between, you can add gap. Look, gap. And gap, maybe you can add 10 pixel. Okay, the gap. Now, instead of two boxes, if you wanted to make 3 or 5, you can also do it like this. So I will add box 3. This is box 3, okay? So box 3, I will copy everything and paste it here as box 3. I will add the name, which is green box 1, box 2, box 3. Then here there's a 2. Is it auto? I will add now if R. So now there's a 3. Okay. So this is one of the example of grid now. Now the next question, this is done, then comes to what does the unit 1F represent to a grid layout? So the same thing when it comes to one auto. Instead of auto, you can add 1FR. So we will see how the 1FR looks like. See 1FR. If I add 1FR and 1FR. Similar like that, right? It also take one effort is basically take one fraction of the available space. Okay, one fraction. Auto is the required, whatever the required space is needed, auto will take the automatically. Now the next question called, how do you create a liquid layout? So we can able to create a liquid layout by using percentage. So when it comes to percentage width, so the layout adapt based on the screen sizes. So one of the example is garden page. Okay, so I can remove all. Then I will take the image with a source, which is cut.png. Now you can able to see the PNG. So I will add the width 100% and I will save. Okay, see how this is one of the example. When you use percentage, you are using liquid layout. See, the card is automatically increases the size and decreases the size based on the website width, right? So they think this website width as 100%, and based on that, the car shape is increases and decreases. Instead of pixel, instead of percentage, if I add pixel, and you can see if I increase and decrease, nothing will happen. Even if I make it this, if I make it this, so for pixel 1, see, it's the picture is getting cut, is it? So that's the difference between liquid layout. Then comes to in hexadecimal color code, what would this repeat? This is white color. In HCL, the color code H means hue. Okay. So H means hue, then comes to S, which is saturation, and then L represent lightness. What CSS property is used to create a smooth transition between color? Okay. So smooth transition, we use transition basically between colors. Okay, so smooth transition between colors. If I wanted to give an example, how we use the transition basically. So if I change this one and I add, there's a button over me, okay, and I will add a button background. So here I will change. So if you look here, I added a button with the background color padding, and the transition, which is background. It will take 0.5 seconds, and when I will hover it, the background color, this one would be red. So see, right? Transition. What is an image sprite? Okay, so before this one, what do the max width 100% rule do for images? I think you can already see it makes image responsive, so they never exceed the width of the container, is it? I think you already see the number 7. So now we will look into the image sprite. We'll see how the sprite things look like. Okay, so this is one of the example of a sprite images. Okay, you have 3 images which is added in one picture, so we'll work with this. So what I will do, I will add a and div, and inside the div I will add nothing, but I can add a class which is icon home. Then I will copy this one again, and here I will add icon. See, search, same thing, I will copy and paste. Here I will add icon settings. Okay, so this 3 is done. Then comes to, okay, this 3 is okay. Then comes to, we will start with the icon. So I will run and see how it looks like. So this 3 is done. Then we will focus on the icon. When it comes to icon, dot icon, we will add width, width, width is 32 pixel. Then we will add height, which is also 32 pixel. Then we will add background. Okay, background image, I need to add that sprite one. So I will add URL. I think you guys all know how I can able to add the background image. So that one is sprite.png. Okay. Okay, then sprite is it G. Then I will add display inline blocks. Inline blocks, basically, I just wanted to make it inline. Then comes to the home. So I will target .home home. And if you look here, there's a 2 class I added in. This is also okay. This is an icon and this is a class. So in the class, I would add, here you will learn how to add the background position. If I add 0, 0, and then I save, why it is not running? I again modify the code. So what we will do here, which is we will first target the icon class. Okay. So basically I wanted to use this one as a separate image. It's like in each and every div, I wanted to position one in this one particular image in one div, this one in another div, like that. So for the icon, I can use a particular width and height, so which should be 32 pixels. The same thing is happen for height as well. I will add the height as 32 pixel as well, and then I will make the background images. So basically, if this type of code came up in your exam, they will mostly do some of the code for you, but maybe you have to work with the positioning and all those things. So we will work with the sprite image. Now I cannot see anything, right? So what I have to do, basically, I need to background image I added. Okay, I have to work with the background size. So I will just try to make the background size a little bit smaller. 96 pixel to 64 pixel. And okay, I think I can able to see something here. Display inline block. Inline block. Okay. After that, I will target the home class. Okay, so home. So here come with the background position. So by background position, we can add the 0, minus 16 pixel to see how it looks like. Should add here background size basically. Okay, now you can able to see there is a home came up, right? So here, if I change the position, see it's hide it and then it again came up, right? So this is one of the examples. So you can use this. So same thing has happened to here because up and down you can shift it like that. Same thing we can do for search as well. So for the search, I will again take the background position and I will look for the search from here. Okay. So here I will click maybe, okay, so I'm working with home basically. So click on the search. See the search button came up now, right? So the search button is basically minus 32, 2 pixel and minus 16 pixels. So if you add, now you can able to see the search button came up. So same way, you can also make the setting visible. So for the background position, I make the background position like this, and I need to click on the setting, icon setting. So this is setting somehow. So this is icon setting. Maybe I need to change this one a little bit. 84 center. My dot settings. Okay, so this is basically S that I have to add. Okay, now I think it will be visible. Okay, now we can able to make the changes to see how we can see. But this is search, then this we need the, yeah, now this is visible. So this way we can able to set up if they gave this type of question or this type of images, so we can use background position for that. Okay, so now we are end with the CSS as well. So next we will focus on the JavaScript. Basically, we will now go through the basic JavaScript. So the first question is, what API allows JavaScript to access and modify HTML? So that one is called DOM, document object model. We mostly uses to access and modify. So if you look here, I created a basic JS file and here hello world, and after that I added a script. Inside script I added document dot get element by ID. So this is the ID, and then dot inner HTML means they're targeting this part and we're assigning to hello art. So when I will save, you can able to see now it's changed to hello art. If I comment out this code, switch control backslash and save, you can able to see it's hello world. So this is one of the example we can able to modify it. Beside that, we can also changes the style as well. So dot style dot, maybe we can add color equals to red. So if I add a red color here, then we can see it's a red color, right? So we can also use JavaScript to style the element as well. Then we will move to the next question, which is JavaScript case sensitive? Yes, JavaScript is case sensitive. So suppose here, if I add variable, which is a variable new data equals to hi, okay, and then I did a console log with new. So in this time, when I will call this one, I will add a capital letter new data. Okay, so this is a case sensitive, right? So when I added something new and I run this code, you guys can able to see that it gives me an error or nothing is showing it, right? But if I change to small new, so now you can able to see there is a high. That's it. So suppose somehow if mistakenly I added a capital letter for N or maybe E or W, it won't give me the correct result. So this is one of the example of a case sensitive. If I move to the next question, which is what property is used to change the text content inside an HTML element via JS? So one of the example we already saw, which is .inner HTML, right? Other than that, we can also use document dot get element by ID. Then we can use first tag, then dot text content equals to, if I add hello earth, and if I save it, you guys can see the hello world will again change to hello earth. So which means we can use text content as well as the inner HTML to changes the value inside the tag, HTML element tag. Is what is the difference between alert and prompt? So when it comes to alert, it only displays the information and it has only OK button and it returns nothing. But prompt will take input from the user and it has OK and cancel button, and it also return things to the user. So we will first see the example of an alert. So if I remove everything from here, then I will add an alert, then we can add welcome to the website. So when I will save it, then you can able to see welcome to the website, right? So a pop-up came up. Now we will see another example of a prompt. So when it comes to prompt, I already mentioned that it can take input from the user. So how we need to declare a variable, right? So you guys can add let var const. So var name equals to, var is basically a JavaScript keyword that we use to declare a variable. Then we can use prompt, and then I will add enter your name. So when I will add enter your name, one minute, after that alert. So basically in the alert I will show hello. Whatever I will write in the quotation, that means it will only visible, okay? Plus, and whatever the variable which I will take from the user, I will put it here. So after that, so if I run again, enter your name, right? So if I write my name MrimmoaeeAhmed and then I click OK, see hello MrimmoaeeAhmed, right? So when it comes to prompt, it gives me it returns me the value, but alert only show you the information. Which keyword is recommended for declaring a variable that can change? Okay, so when it comes to declaring a variable that can change, okay, so for that one, we can again use let to do it. See, so if I add let score equals to 10, okay, so I assign 10 to the score variable. Then I again add score equals to 20. So what you guys will see, if I do a console log here, you can able to see that this 20 will replace by this 10. So if I add log and then I add score, if I save it, you won't see this one. This one you will get see. So if I do the inspect here, the score 20 is coming, is it? So let is the one. If you use let, it will declaring a variable that can change, so it can change. If I use var, also do the same thing. If I do var, also do the same thing, is it? So var, declaring the var and the let both changes the value, right? If I declare it again one more time with different value, so the latest code data will be visible basically in the console log. But if we go to the next question, what is a const and how it is declared? So instead of var, if I change it to const and I save to 30, because when you declare a variable as a constant, you cannot redeclare again. Okay, so now if I run and click, you can able to see it because it won't show you anything. You cannot redeclare. Okay, so if I remove this 20 and I save and I console log, you can able to see the 10. But if I add or if I uncomment this particular code and save, you see there's nothing coming. Why? Because for when it comes to const, you cannot redeclare the variable. So what is an array? Array is basically a list, or you can say a data structure where we store multiple single variable. So one of the examples we can see, which is how we can able to declare an array. Let new array equals to, when it comes to array, we have to use this quotation, the third bracket quotation, and here we can add apple, banana, orange. Okay, so this is the new array that I declare. This one is called one-dimensional array, but we also have two-dimensional array. Suppose new two array, 2D array. So how the 2D array will look like, it look like this. So array inside array. So this is the one data. So here we can add apple. What is the color? Which is red. Then we will move to banana. What is the color? Yellow. So this is the example of single array. This is the example of multi-dimensional array. Remember, the length of the array always start with 1. So 1, 2, 3 will be the length of the array. But index is always start with 0. So 0, 1, and 2. 0, 1, and 2. So they mention here, when it comes to the next question, what is the index number of the first item in a JavaScript array, which is 0. How do you remove the last element in an array? And before this one, you can see that what is a two-dimensional array? So I think you guys clear already, right? What does it mean by two-dimensional array? This is one of the example of a two-dimensional array. So now, if I wanted to access the value of a one-dimensional array, I need to add, suppose I wanted to add a variable, and then here I will insert the data, I will add a banana. So how can I do it? So just copy new array, use the third bracket, and then use the index number. So banana I wanted to show, so which is 0 and 1. So it should be 1. Then if I console log, you guys can able to see how which value my data is basically holding. Okay, so if I see and run this, see the banana is coming, is it? So if I changes this array from this to 0, you can able to see the apple will came up. The apple will came up. So this way we actually target the single array. But when it comes to multi-dimensional array, so for multi-dimensional array, maybe we can add new data equals to. So here I have to add the name of the array and then 2 third bracket. So for this one, okay, this is 0, this is 1. So maybe I wanted to only show the red, so I have to target the first one, which is 0. Then 0, this is 0, this is 1. So the second one will be 1. So if I save and do the console log for this one as well, and I paste it and I save, you can see the new data is now red, right? So the first, this one represent this. So here it considered this as 1, which is 0, this as 2. And for this one, this is 0, this is 1. So this way we can able to call multi or 2D array and singular array. So how do you remove the element from an array? So basically we can remove the element by using pop. Okay, by using pop. So if I write here for maybe for new array, for the new array, if I add new array dot pop with a first bracket, then you guys can able to see, and maybe I wanted to remove all. So I added pop and I wanted to see the value of new array. So log, I added the new array, okay? So basically I have apple, banana and orange, but when I click the pop, you can able to see I have only two, apple and banana. So they already removed the orange. Now, another thing, how you can able to push. So if I add push and then I add another, which is lychee, okay? Push means I wanted to add the lychee inside this one. Then you can able to see there's a 4 array. So now if I apple, banana, orange, and lychee. So we can use push to insert, pop to take out. The pop will only take the last one. Push will also add the last in, last out, basically add the lychee at the last index. What is two-dimensional array? I think you guys know already. What logical operator represent OR? So OR is basically, when it comes to OR, it looks like this. So either this one can be true, this one can be true. Only one side can be true. Like suppose I can add if. So one of the example I can add, which is if is a selection, right? So here I will add if num array. How can I target the first one, which is 0, apple, right? Num array equals to apple, or or 2 means it will target orange, or if it orange, then it will console log true. Okay, so you can see is it working or not. See, true, is it? So both are true, both is basically working, is it? So it's true, this one, but if I add not equal to orange, if it is not a, but this one will also show you the true, because this one is true. If either one of the side is true, it will give you the correct answer. But instead of or, if I add and, then both sides need to be true. It will give you else false. So here you can see the false. Why? Because both need to be true. This one is okay, but this one they say not. But if I add it to orange, because if you look here, the new array, they have the both apple and the orange, so it's true. So now you will get the answer true. So when it comes to AND logical operator, you must have the two both sides should be true. Otherwise, when it comes to OR, one side need to be true. What is the primary difference between a while and a do while loop? Okay. So a while loop is basically check the condition before running, while a do while loop, oh sorry, this one. They mention why is a for loop best used compared to a while loop? Because for loop is best used when the number is repetition is known. That means you already know how many times you have to use the repetition. Okay. But while loop is mostly suitable when we don't know about the repetition. Okay, so one of the example we can see, which is if I uses a for loop here, if I remove everything related to array and I will add a for. So for, when it comes to for, here comes with the let or maybe var I. So I declare a variable I with 1, or you guys can also add it 0. Then we will add condition, which is I must be less than equals to 5 colon, then we will say I plus plus. Okay, so if I say this one, then I will do console log I, and when I will save and run, you can able to see okay, so maybe here I can add not less than equal to. So when I add this, code. So for I, so we are initialize I with a 1, okay, and then I say that this loop will run until the value of I will be less than or equal to 5, and each time when it will run, it will increases the value of I to 1. Okay, so as you can see here, 1 2 3 4 5 is coming, right? So this is mostly applicable when we already know how many times we need to run the loop. But there is a one example when it comes to while, like suppose while is mostly uses for password based. So the thing is that when it comes to password, I created a var password. Okay, so var password equals to empty. Then I will add while password is not equals to 1 2 3 4, which means if the password is not equals to 1 2 3 4, then we will add password and we will ask prompt. Okay, enter password again, prompt enter password. So when I did, and then I save it, so okay, I think I need to add is it still running? I can add this one after here. Remove this one from the head. Okay, so the thing is coming on here. So if I add like this, okay, enter password. So it is asking me the password, right? So I write something and then after that it check the validation. So used when iteration is unknown, because I can do the mistake maybe multiple time, maybe 10 time, maybe third time, because it's unknown, right? So this is one of the example of a for and while loop. Okay, so when it comes to while and do while loop, between while, do while, and also the for loop. So I will create a file, do while, while comes to for loop dot html. So here I will add a script basically. So I can able to add JavaScript code. Then I will declare a variable which is for I, or maybe for x equals to 3. Then I will focus on the while loop. So the structure of the while loop is basically we need to add a while with a condition. The condition should be x is less than 5. Then comes to the third bracket, and sorry, second, the curly bracket, the second bracket. Then we will do a console log to see how it works basically. So this is x, and then we can add x plus plus. Okay. So now I will run it and see how it looks like. So if I go to inspect, then console, so as you can see 3 and 4 is showing here, because I make the value of x, as 3, so I'm getting the 2 loop basically. So it started from 3 and 4. This is a structures of a while loop. So at the while loop, we added the condition first, then we added the counter at the last. But when it comes to do while loop is a little bit different. We don't check the condition at first. We just run the loop and then we check the condition. So basically, I just comment it out, and here I will add a do while loop. So for do, we need to add do and the curly bracket. Here we will add the console log, which is x, and then I will add the counter, which is x plus plus. After that, I will add the condition, which is while x is less than 5. Okay, so this is the thing I added. But when it comes to 3, it's continuously running. So x need to be less than 3. So if I add the value of x equals to 6, then okay. We added this particular do while loop. So here what I did, I added the console log, I added the counter, but then I add this one, and the condition is x will be less than 5, right? So if it's 4, then this while loop will run. But when it comes to do while loop, it won't check the condition at the first, so it will still run at the first time and it will give you the value x. So if I run this one, you can able to see 6 is showing, right? So if I do the same thing for the while loop, so while loop will check the condition and it won't show you the 6 basically. So mostly we use do while loop when it comes to password, right? So it run one more time. So after we add the password and all, then it will check is it valid or not. So the difference is do while loop check the condition after it run the loop one time, and while loop check the condition at the beginning. Okay, at the beginning. So here if I do this one and again I run, so you can see there is nothing, nothing is showing. But if I add 4, you guys can able to see 4 is shown, right? Then we will look into the difference between while and for loop. So when it comes to the for loop, the structure of the for loop is you have to add the for, and inside the for you have to initialize the value of I, which is 0, or maybe x, because we're working with x. So we can add x to 0, initialize, okay? And then you must have to mention the condition at the second point, basically. So x should be less than 5, and then we will add the counter, which is x plus plus. Okay. So with the difference between while and for loop is, for the for loop, we exactly know how many time this loop will run, as because I already initialize x to 0 and this one will be less than 5. So maybe it will run, it will run for 5 loop, right? But for the while loop, we didn't initialize the value of x because this one is mostly dependent on the user. So if user press 3, it will run maybe 2 times. If the user press 2, it will run 3 times. But for this one, we are already mentioning it, right? The initial counter. So based on that, the condition will run. So now if I do the console log to x and I save it, so as you can see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this 4 is basically for the while loop. So this value is not applicable when it comes to for. For this one is applicable, is it? So if the for and 0, x is less than 5. So for loop, we mostly use for loop when we already know how many times we have to go through the loop. We use while loop when we don't know how many times we have to run the loop. So that's the difference between while and for. Okay, so then comes to what is a subprogram or function. Okay, so we will look into the function. So subprogram or function, basically the same thing, but when it comes to function is basically to write a short code so that we can able to reuse it. So one of the example of function is, so here as you can see that I will add a function for sum. Okay, so first I have to add a script. So script, then I can add function sum, like this, right? So here I wanted to add the parameter. So parameter, I wanted to add a or b. So basically by using the parameter, I will pass the variable value to this function. And in this function, I will write return a addition b. Okay, so what is the value of a and b it will return? Then I will call the function. I will call the function by providing the argument. So how we can able to call the function sum, and then because it is taking the parameter, so I will provide the argument. So argument is basically the value of the parameter. So a is considering that a is considered as 2, b is considered as 3. So when I will pass 8, maybe I can do one thing, which is I can declare a variable var total equals to a plus b. So var total equals to a plus b, and here we will return total. And I will do a console log here to see what is the value of the total basically. So now when I will run this function, I can able to see in the console log what it is showing. Okay, so as you can see, it's 5, right? So I can use the same code. I can use the same code for different functions. So if I add sum 5 comma 5, I don't need to write 5 comma 4, maybe I don't need to write another code, is it? I can use the same thing and it will do the calculation for me. So mostly we use functions so that we can able to reuse the code. It helps us to reduces the number of code which load the web pages more faster. So this is then one of the example of a function. In a regular expression regex, what does the sum symbol represent? So when it comes to regex, so we can see a difference on regex. So for regex, it start with this. This is a starting point, and dollar slash, this is a ending point. Okay, starting and ending point. In this between, you can add H or R. So that one will represent H or R. This one will represent, either you can add H or R, but only one. Then this one represents space. Okay, then you can add A to Z like this. If you don't add anything, it will only accept one letter, sorry, one alphabet. If you wanted to take more than one, you can just mention one, or you can also mention two. So it will take two alphabet. Then comes to, you can also make it lowercase as well, A to Z. Here you can also mention three like this, or if you mention positive, that means you can add as many as you want. When it comes to number, you can declare the number by using this D. If you add 3, that means it will accept 3 number, or you can also use 0 to 9. So backslash D and 0 to 9 is represent the same thing. Okay, so 0 to 9, if you add like it will only accept only one digit. If you mention 2 or like this, it will accept more than one number. So I think, what does the regex D match? We are already clear. It basically 0 to 9 digit. Which JS event occur when the mouse over an element? So when a mouse over an element, the event occur is basically mouse over event. So we can see how one of the example of mouse over event. Event is basically when we click something, right? When you hover something, the event occur, or when you click something, a function fires it. So this is one of the example of event. So we can add mouse over dot. So here I will run a script. Okay. And then here I will add a div. So inside the div, I will add move mouse here. So when someone will move the mouse here, then I will add something to this p tag. So here I will add text like this. So when someone will move here, it will show something in this position. So we can use a script basically. So in the script, we can add a function. So function, maybe I can add show message. The show inside the show message, I wanted to target this one. So how can I do it? Document dot get element by ID. The ID is basically the text, is it? So I will take text. Then how can I target this one? Inner HTML. If this one is the input, then I can target it by using dot value. So dot inner HTML, then we will assign new value, which is mouse is mouse is over the box. Okay, so we are done with this. Then we need to call this one. So we will call this one. I don't want to add the script here. So if I wanted to call the thing, so what I do, I will add this one here. So I will add the event, which is as an attribute on mouse over. So on mouse over this one. Okay, and then I will call this particular function here. I will call this function here. Then if I run this one, you can see how it looks. See? So when I take my cursor to here, it started to see, right? So this is one of the example of a mouse hover. Now the another thing is I wanted to show you how we can able to make an external JavaScript. Suppose if in the exam it came like for the external JavaScript, so how we can able to connect. So here I wanted to create you can add any name, mouse over script. If I add a mouse dot html, sorry, dot js, because this is a js. Then we will just take this one, cut and paste it here. Okay, done. Then I will connect this one to here. So what I have to do, I have to write the script tag and then I have to write the source tag here for the connection. So in exam, if the question asks you to add an external script, I think you guys can able to do it. Oh, sorry, I did a mistake, which is I add this. I don't need to add this. I think now it will be workable. Yeah, see, it's working. It's working. Okay, so when we will add the external one, we will not add basically the script. Now we can move to the next question. What is blur event? So blur event is basically blur the object, and also you can see how it looks as well. This is done. So for the blur event, again, I will add just an input box, and in the input box, I will add a blur. But before that, I wanted to add some script. So where I will declare a function. So function, I need to give a name, which is a show message. And here I will add an alert. So in the alert, I will add input box lost focus. And here I will call. So for blur also there is an event that we can call, which is on blur, and here we will call this show message function. And when I will save it, run it, okay, I need to call this one basically. See, so when input box lost focus, so that means when I will focus here and I was writing something and I click somewhere here, then it will give me a warning that the input box has lost the focus. That's the things which is called on blur event. Which algorithm repeatedly compares adjacent values to sort an array? That one is called bubble sort. Okay, so bubble sort is the one which one is repeatedly comparing the number each other like this, okay, and then they go after that. What is the purpose of a try catch block? So When it comes to try catch block, that one is basically make sure that the system won't crash. If any error happen, the system can continuously go on. Okay, the system can continuously go on. So this is the example of a try catch block. I mention is what is a wireframe. So wireframe is basically a simple layout. So we can see how the wireframe look like without that much more detail. Okay, so this is one of the example of a wireframe. This is called a wireframe. So a simple visual layout of a web page or app that shows structures and placement of elements. So this is all the element without a detailed design. Then comes to mockup differ from a wireframe. So mockup is basically a more detail and show color, image, font, and final appearance, while a wireframe only show layout and structure. So if I search for mockup, okay. So this is called a mockup. Okay, so before coding, the UI UX designer came up with similar like this, and then it passed to the front end developer, and they will change it to code. What is a style guide? So style guide is basically a paper you can think. So they mostly write all the color code, font, space, the button style they will use. So that one is an example of a style guide. Web safe font is a font that is commonly installed in most of the devices or browsers. So one of the examples is Time New Romance, Sans Serif. So ensuring it display correctly for user. What does it mean by visual hierarchy? What does the term visual hierarchy refers to? So visual hierarchy is the one which help to rearranging the element. So important content stand out first without size and using size and color spacing. So if you look here, this is considered as one of the important content, right? So that's why they give more space, and it is like they make it in a position that where when someone see this particular website, this is the main point of attraction. Then comes to complementary color. So complementary color is basically called the opposite each other on the color wheel, such as blue and orange. So if you guys look into the book, you can able to see the color wheel. Then comes to this is the complementary color. What organizations set standard for the World Wide Web? So the organization which set standard for the World Wide Web is the World Wide Web Consortium. Okay, the minimum recommended contrast ratio for standard text is basically 4.5 colon 1 or is to 1. Just remember these things. Uh, Web content accessibility guidelines. So this one is mostly focused on international guideline that mostly help make website accessible to people with disabilities. Okay, so how it can be, how they can able to make it more user friendly to the people who are disabled. Why should web content avoid flashing more than 3 times per second? So flashing means like changing the design or added more animation and like that. So web content should avoid flashing more than 3 times per second because rapid flashing can trigger seizures in some users, especially those with photosensitive issues and all. Okay, so that's why the reaction and all it will take a little bit time to complete. So if you complete within 3 seconds, then it creates some issue with some of people with certain disease. Okay, so we are done with this paper, and you guys can go through the books as well. So we are done with the paper then. Thank you for listening.